Yes, thank you so much for tuning on and subscribing on Metric Hub YouTube channel. I just want to welcome you again to Section B revision that I'm bringing to you, question 2. This is a 2023 paper from Gauteng province. So, like I'm going to do question 2 only in this presentation. It has got a couple of things that you need to take note of. So without wasting any time, let me just go quickly through the questions that I'm having on the board here. Just be patient and follow the question to the end. There are some good, nice technical areas that you need to take note of here. So we are given that scientists found that high sweat rates over prolonged work periods, 8 to 12 hours shift in the heat leads to water levels in the blood decreasing below normal. This eventually leads to dehydration, which causes reduced mental. Dehydration causes reduced mental and physical performance. Dehydration causes that and may also cause serious illnesses to health. It may also cause serious illnesses to health. And scientists therefore carried out an investigation to determine the amount of sweat loss that an individual experiences during manual labor or exercises in summer and winter. So this is a seasonal investigation that was done. The subjects were 29 healthy. There were 29 healthy male out. There were 29 healthy male outdoor manual workers, various trades. There were manual workers of various trades, aged between 18 and 50 years, all agreed to participate in the study. Male subjects exercised in a temperature-controlled room. The room was temperature-controlled on 2 consecutive days under both winter and summer conditions. Sweat collecting devices were attached to the upper arms and legs. They found that the average water loss through sweating for the groups was 0.47 liters per hour in the summer compared with 0.41 liters per hour in winter. Hence, we are saying in summer it was high. The graph below shows the numbers of male that fall into the different ranges of water loss under summer and winter conditions. Under summer and winter conditions, we are given that. So let's check through water loss through sweating for 29 individuals during summer and winter season. And then you see the dark one is representing winter, the light one is representing summer. So the bars are like that. The number of males are given on the vertical axis there. And then we are also given the range of water loss, which is liters per hour. So we have got those figures there from 0.1 to 0.99. Those are the figures that are given here. So let's just quickly go through the next question or the first question. What does the question say? Use the text provided and state one effect of dehydration on the body. One effect of dehydration. Use the graph and give one effect of dehydration. What does dehydration do? One effect of dehydration. So in this case, we are saying the information from the text. What does it say about dehydration? Dehydration, it leads to, it causes reduced mental, it causes reduced mental and physical performance, which is given here, and also may cause, we are saying performance is reduced mental and physical, and also serious health risks that are there. So the first question is saying the effects of dehydration on the body according to the text. So we need to understand that the text is always giving you the answers there. You need not to think about your own answers. So we are saying one, it causes physical, it causes mental or physical, it reduces mental or physical health. physical performance, sorry, mental and physical performance, it is reduced. It reduces mental and physical performance. And then two, we are also told from the essay that it also causes serious health risks. To what? It causes also serious health risks. It poses serious health risks. It also causes serious health risks that might also arise. So it poses serious health risks and also reduces mental and physical performance, which are answers that are given in the what in the context or in the text there. And then the next question is saying give the water loss range, the water loss range that that the largest number of male fell, the largest number of male fell under summer conditions. So we are saying the water loss range that the largest number of males fell in under in summer conditions. So what we are saying is that we need to go in onto our graph and then see where do we have the highest water loss range in summer. Where do we have the highest water loss range in summer? This we can see it on the graph here. On the graph, we are saying summer, it is the light gray bar. So the tallest one is the one that is giving the highest. The tallest one is the one which is giving the highest. As you can see, we are saying the tallest one is this one, which is probably 10, which is actually showing the highest number of males where we have got otherwise 10 of them. Otherwise, we have got 10 in there. So I'm saying the range that we are referring to is this one. That is the range that we are having, which we have got the highest males in summer. So it is what? 0.4 to 0.49. That is the range that we are referring to onto this question. 0.4, 0.4 to 0.49 is the range that we are referring to onto this one. 0.4 0.4 to 0.49 to 0.49 liters per hour is the range that we are talking about. In that case, is the one that has got that is giving us the highest liters, or that, I mean, where the highest number of male are falling in summer. So 0.4 to 0.49, 0.4 to 0.49 is the one. Describe how the body of a healthy person, describe how the health of a healthy person would try to prevent dehydration when the water levels in the blood decreases to below normal. So in this case, we need to understand that we need to understand about the issue in terms of a healthy person who try to prevent dehydration when the water levels in the blood decreases below normal. So if the water level is below normal, what happens? That is what the question is saying for a health person. So what we need to talk about here is about the issue of water loss when the health level, I mean, when the water level is gone below normal. So one other point, I mean, first and foremost, you need to understand the issue of osmoregulation. That is what the question is asking. So we need to talk about the hypothalamus or osmoreceptors affecting and controlling this. So question, this answer is saying when water level falls below normal, when water levels falls below normal, uh, what happens? So when water levels falls below normal, what is it that would happen? We are talking about from a health person. From a health person, what happens when water levels falls below normal? So one, the hypothalamus, or we talk about the osmoreceptors, which we are talking about the receptors that are responsible, the osmoreceptors, the ones which are responsible in terms of stimulation and sending impulses to the pituitary gland. So the hypothalamus or osmoreceptors are stimulated. They are stimulated. They are stimulated and send impulses to the pituitary gland. Are stimulated and sent. They are stimulated and sent impulses to the pituitary gland. They send impulses to the pituitary gland to secrete more what? They send impulses to the pituitary gland to secrete more ADH, to secrete more ADH, antidiuretic hormone, to secrete more ADH. So ADH, the antidiuretic hormone, increases the permeability. It increases the permeability of the renal tubules of the kidney. Of the kidney, they increase the renal, they increase the permeability. That is to mean to say that the movement of water, permeability is to say allow water to pass through into the renal tubules. So we are saying increase the the permeability of the renal tubules of the kidney. More water is reabsorbed into more water is reabsorbed into surrounding blood vessels. This results in more water. More water is reabsorbed. More water is reabsorbed into the surrounding blood vessels, is reabsorbed into the surrounding blood vessels, into the surrounding blood vessels. And then what we are saying is that more water is reabsorbed into the surrounding blood vessels. In that regard, therefore, the water levels in the blood increases to normal levels. The water levels in the blood increases to normal levels. The water levels in the blood increases to normal levels. And then in that regard, we need to understand that less urine is produced. Less urine is produced. Less urine is produced because no water is reabsorbed. Less urine is produced. Therefore, the urine becomes more concentrated because less water is lost through the urine. and hence the urine becomes more concentrated, more concentrated. It becomes more concentrated. So what we are saying, class, is that the question that you are to answer here is to do with the balancing of water in the body when the water falls below normal levels in the body. So in that case, therefore, you need to understand that it is this hypothalamus or the osmo receptors that are responsible for that in terms of balancing of the water in the body. They are the osmo receptors or the hypothalamus that are stimulated, and then they send the impulses to the pituitary gland to secrete more ADH. More ADH is secreted when water levels falls below normal, and then the ADH increases the permeability of the renal tubules of the kidney. The permeability, as to say, I said permeability is the movement of water into the movement of water. So therefore, passing of water that is permeable, and then more water is reabsorbed into the surrounding blood vessels. More water is absorbed into the surrounding blood vessels. As that happens, therefore, we are saying the water levels in the blood increases because it is being absorbed into the blood vessels. Hence, the water levels in the blood increases. It increases to normal levels. In that fact, with that in mind, again, we need to understand that less water is therefore lost in the urine, or less urine is produced, and then hence the urine is more, or the urine becomes more concentrated because it has got no dilution of the water, because the water is being absorbed into the bloodstream. Hence, that is why we say that the urine becomes more concentrated. The urine becomes more concentrated. That is what you are supposed to talk about with regards to the balancing of water in the body when water levels falls below normal. That is what you need to talk about. So I'm saying you can understand and get this one very correct and clear. That is what you should do, and that's what you need to understand. So let's just go to the next question. The next question, it wants you like question 2.14. Question 2.414, explain how the change in the average water loss through sweating from winter to summer affect body temperatures. The loss of water, explain how the change in the average loss of water through sweating from winter to summer affects body temperature. In that case, the question wants you to understand the issue of saying when what happens with the sweating. In this case, you should understand that the issue here that sweating increases, therefore causing body temperature to what? To decrease. This is because more evaporation of water. I'm sure that you remember the issue of latent heat or vaporization. So if they are how the change in average water loss through sweating from winter to summer affects body temperature. Obviously, we have less water lost. Less water is lost in in winter than in what? In summer. So what I mean to say here is that understand that sweating increases when it is in summer. In summer, sweating, it increases. Sweating increases, therefore causes body temperature, resulting in decrease of body temperature. Body temperature, it decreases, resulting in a decrease in body temperature. What is causing the body temperature to decrease? We are saying the body temperature decreases because of what? It is because more evaporation of sweat causes what? More cooling to the skin surface, and then the temperature or the skin becomes, or the body has got to experience low temperature, decreases, resulting in decrease in body temperature because of more evaporation of sweat. because of more evaporation, because of more evaporation of sweat. More evaporation of sweat takes place, and then I am saying again, this eventually causes more cooling to the skin, more cooling, more cooling to the skin or of the skin surface, more cooling to the skin surface or of the skin surface. In that regard, obviously, we are talking about the blood below the skin, it becomes cool. So in other words, the question just wants you to understand that sweating results in a decrease in body temperature because of latent heat of vaporization, where heat is lost from the body, is lost from the blood to the surrounding environment. This is due to radiation. So when the skin is, when a person sweat, actually the evaporation of the sweat, it takes with it the heat, which we are talking about, the latent heat of vaporization, the heat that allows or that causes the sweat to evaporate. When that takes place or when that happens, it is causing the temperature to decrease, which we are talking about the cooling system of the body temperature, therefore takes place. That is one thing that you should know here. Question 2.15. Question 2.15 suggests two ways in which a company can decrease the risk of dehydration for their workers. How can a company reduce the dehydration of their workers? They can supply sufficient water or fluid to workers. That is one obvious thing. Uh, Supply sufficient sufficient water or fluids. Workers must be given supply sufficient water or fluids to workers. It is one main thing, that one main way that we can talk about. And then two, we can also talk about provide a shade. They can provide a shade that helps to keep the workers cooler. Provide a shade that helps to keep workers a shade. People have to work in under the shade. That would also help the workers not to be under the sun. That makes them to take cover from the sun, and then that can also avoid what it can avoid dehydration. I can as well maybe say that we can also talk about providing shifts that are shorter or working at cooler times of the day, which is either morning or night, allowing workers to, we are saying, giving workers shifts that are cooler, shifts during cool times of the day, it can help. They can work during the night, they can work during the morning, and also even giving the employees shorter working times. That can also prevent dehydration. Instead of working 8 hours a day, people can work even 3 hours a day. That can be a good way of avoiding what? That can avoid the effect of dehydration that we are referring to or that we are talking about. The diagram below shows an endocrine gland involved in regulating blood glucose levels. It shows the hormone it releases when blood glucose levels are high and one of the target organs of the hormone. I'm sure if you refer to our channel again, class, this question, I did answer that question before. I have answered the question which I was trying to explain to you that there is a negative feedback mechanism that takes place in terms of the hormonal control, in terms of the endocrine system and stuff. So please take note of this question. I'm quite sure that I gave a summation of the balancing of glucose in the body, which was also through a technical question, which I demonstrated on the body here that we have got glucose, and then we have got what? Uh, we have got glycogen. We are saying glucose is stored in the form of glycogen. So we can talk about, in this case, glucose is being, we are saying decreasing glucose, decreasing glucose level. Glucose level is being decreased. And then in this case, we are talking about increasing glucose level. So I can make you that to see A is showing decreasing glucose level. And then when glycogen is converted to glucose, it is increasing glucose level, increasing glucose. Increasing glucose. So there are hormones that are responsible for these conversions, which I wanted you to just revise or to pick it up again, that you need to know very well that glucose is stored in the form of glycogen. When excess glucose is in the body, it is converted into glycogen in order to ensure that it does not cause what? Diabetes mellitus. So what I'm saying is that you need to know that which hormone is responsible for that. So in that case, you need to know that there is insulin. Insulin is the one that converts glucose into what? It converts glucose into glycogen. And then glycogen to glucose, we have got what? We have got glucagon. This is a reversible or a negative feedback mechanism that you should take note of, which will help you in any case when you are revising in terms of the balancing of glucose in the body. In any case, again, just not relevant in this case, but you need to know the disease that is caused or that results when glucose is not converted in the body, and then what might cause the insufficient insulin, or what might cause this glucose to remain constantly high. There are quite a lot of factors that might also need to be understood by students in this respect. So please take note of this. I'm just pointing out some red flags that need to be taken note of by students as you prepare for your exams there. Uh, these are some of the things that you should know. So let's just answer the questions that are under this diagram. It shows the hormone it releases when blood glucose levels are high and one of the target organs of the of the hormone. So you need to understand the characteristics of hormones again, that hormones do not work haphazardly. They got specific target organs that they work on. They've got specific areas of the body that they work on. That is what we mean by target organ. And then let's answer the question. Identify each of the following. Identify each of the following. Identify A and B. So we need to answer to say what is A, what is B. A, it is the liver. I'm sure that you know very well that this A, it is the liver. And then obviously B is the pancreas. B is the pancreas, A is the liver. That is okay. A is the liver, B is the pancreas, and then hormone C, which is coming from the pancreas to the liver. We are saying from the essay again, it shows that the hormone it releases when blood glucose levels are high. The question is saying the blood glucose level, which is released when blood glucose levels are what are high. That is one area that you need to take note of. So when blood glucose is high, I said that it is what? It is insulin. Insulin is produced when blood glucose level is what? Is high. So it is what? it is insulin, which is hormone C here. It is insulin. Hormone C is insulin that is produced there. And then what is a hormone? Define a hormone. That is the next question. What is a hormone? When I presented again last time on this chapter, I was quite trying to be so explicit where I explained the issues or the definition of hormone and its properties, how do hormones work and stuff. So a hormone is a regulatory substance in the body that stimulates cells to bring about changes. They bring about changes. It's a regulatory substance. These are substances that regulate systems in the body by stimulating cells to bring about some specific changes. In other words, we can also define it as a what? As a protein or a chemical messenger in the body responsible for regulating gradual responses in the body. So it's a regulatory substance. It's a regulatory It's a regulatory substance in the body that stimulates cells, to bring about specific changes, to bring about specific changes. So we are saying that is a hormone. It can be defined also as to say that it is a protein or a chemical messenger in the body that is responsible for controlling gradual responses. Remember that hormones are produced in microscopic levels or quantities. They are gradual. They are responsible for initiating and bringing about gradual, long-lasting changes or slow gradual changes that must take place in the body. That is what you need to understand in terms of a hormone. Because still on this question, you need to understand the differences between the nervous system and the endocrine system. Because in this case, you are to understand or you are to have an understanding in terms of the working of the endocrine system and the working of the what of the nervous system. That is what you are supposed to understand in this respect. Uh, Explain how a lack of hormone C affects blood glucose levels. Explain how a lack of hormone C affect blood glucose levels. So a lack in hormone C, which we said that it's insulin, how does it affect blood glucose levels? Uh, so excess glucose cannot be converted to glycogen in the liver, and therefore the glucose levels in the blood remains above normal. And then we have got a person to suffer in terms of the diabetes mellitus. So that is what exactly I was saying in the first time or in my presentation at first there, that you need to understand that excess glucose cannot be converted to glycogen from the demonstration that I has given you. The excess glucose may not be converted to glycogen, hence glucose remains high, hence glucose levels remains high, and a person may suffer from diabetes mellitus. Diabetes mellitus becomes the condition or a disorder that results if we don't have, or if a person does not have what? If a person does not have enough insulin. When a person does not have enough insulin, the end result is that glucose remains excessively high. That would cause a person to suffer from diabetic mellitus because the conversion or the safe storage format of glucose, which is glycogen, cannot be achieved. That results in a person suffering from problems of diabetic mellitus, which would cause such problems that we have discussed in the previous presentation. And then 2.4, question 2.4 is saying list three other hormones. List uh, three other hormones that can directly or indirectly affect blood glucose level. They can directly or indirectly, three other hormones that can directly or indirectly affect blood glucose level. It's glucagon, which I mentioned there in the diagram. We also need to understand there is also thyroxine, and then thyroxine, and I can eventually talk about the adrenaline. Adrenaline can also affect blood glucose levels in the blood. So we are saying it's glucagon, thyroxine, and and adrenaline. These are the other hormones that can also affect what? Blood glucose level. There are other hormones that can also affect blood glucose levels. So please take note that this question is just so technical, and quite oftentimes you might not see it there. You might not get it right. An investigation was conducted to determine the effect of plant hormones and light on a plant growth response. Yesterday, I answered a similar question regarding the tropisms in plants. Ne? The investigator placed 9 plants in a group of 3 in a dark box with light entering on one side, which is unilateral light. Yesterday, it was not one directional light. It was what? It was light from all sources or from all directions. The plants were all the same. The plants were all at the same height at the start of the investigation. In Group A, he removed the apical meristems. In Group B, he covered the apical stems with foil, and in Group C, the apical meristem remains untouched. So remember, before we go anywhere, I said again that in investigative questions, where you hear that there were no changes in a certain setup, that setup or in that experiment, one that is not touched, it is called the what? It is called the what? The control of the investigation. It is used for verification of the effects of an investigation to see if the factor under investigation is the clearly factor that can affect the results that are to be told or that are to be obtained in that investigation. So whenever you see one setting that is unmanipulated, the question would come asking you to say, what is the reason why Group C was left untouched? It was to be used as a control of the investigation for comparative reasons of the results of the investigation. Okay, let's quickly go through the question. The diagram represents what was observed after a week. What was observed after a week? We have got A, B, C. These are the situation that are seen there, and then you can see this is showing unilateral light. We have got unilateral light, which is coming unilateral light that is shown on this diagram there. So what we need to understand is the question is saying give the term used to describe the plant growth response being investigated. Uh, the the plant growth response under investigation, whenever we talk about light, automatically it is what? It is phototropism. Phototropism. it is phototropism. The moment you talk about light, understand that it is phototropism. When you talk about gravity, it is what? Geotropism. So it is phototropism that is under investigation in this case. And then name the plant hormone involved in the growth response mentioned in this question. When we are talking about the effect of plant growth, the cell elongation and stuff, you should understand that question 2.3, 2.3.2, it is what? It is auxins. Auxins are responsible for that. Auxins are responsible for cell elongation. And then give the letters of the groups which are not affected by unilateral light. Yes, you can see, we are seeing that A and B, they remain growing straight. A and B, they remain straight. So A and B are not affected by unilateral light. It is A and B. A and B are not affected by the light. And then explain why the plant in group C bent towards the light. Question 2.31, 2.34, 2.3.4. Why the plant C bent towards light? One, because the stem is exposed to unilateral light, which we are seeing light from one direction only. The plant is exposed to light from one direction, which I said that light from one direction is called unilateral light, ne? From one direction only. We talked about this in the presentation which I did last time on terms of plant growth hormones, where I was talking about the effect of phototropism, specifically demonstrated by the light from one direction. So auxins, in this case, we are saying auxins, or we can say hormones, are destroyed, exactly what I was saying yesterday, by the light, are destroyed by the light. They are destroyed by the light, or else they may move away from the light, or they move away from the light. They can either be destroyed or they move away from the light. And then this causes concentration of oxygen to be too high on the darker side of the of the light of the plant, sorry. Oxygen becomes highly concentrated on the opposite side of light, on the opposite side from light source, or we can say darker side. Because this is one other thing that I was saying yesterday again, that which area or where do we have more oxygens there. So therefore the cells are stimulated to grow faster in the dark. The cells, the plant will grow faster. The plant will grow faster in the dark area than bright side. Than bright side, hence it will be forced to bend. It bends towards light because of uneven growth. Bend towards light, bend towards light due to uneven uneven growth. Uneven growth will result in the what in that growth in that bending of the what of the plant. So please class understand here. I mean the question of phototropism, where you need to what you need to understand is that light is necessary for plant growth. It is known that light is very important for plant growth. So, but if the light is provisioned from one direction, the light destroys the oxygens, or the oxygens will move away from that light source and they become highly concentrated on the opposite side of the what of the light source, or on the darker side. The darker side therefore will grow faster I mean the plant will grow faster in the darker side than in the bright side. In due to that uneven growth, the plant will bend towards light because the cells in the darker side are growing faster than those in the brighter side. Eventually, they are causing, or the slow growth causes the plant to bend towards light. The slow growth, or the slower growth, results in the plant bending towards light. So the next question then it says, explain one way in which the removal of the apical meristem of a plant is financially beneficial. Is financially beneficial to what to this to a citrus farmer. This is one other question that I was saying. It is quite important, and we once answered it again last time, whereby you need to understand that there are questions that are coming in that respect, which you should understand, to say that how is 2.35, how is this important to financially important to a citrus farmer? 2.35 2.35 of actually we are saying one, oxygens are removed. Oxygens are removed. That is first thing, because remember oxygens are produced on the apic on the freshest part of the plant. Oxygens are removed. When oxygens are removed, what happens? Oxygens are removed and then plants are kept short. Plants are kept short. Oxygens are removed and then plants are kept short. Then we can talk about fruits. Therefore, they can make fruits closer to the ground. They make fruits closer to the ground. If fruits are closer to the ground, harvesting it becomes easier. Harvesting becomes easier in that case. When that happens, the farmer is saved from cost. I'm saying we have got therefore less cost on equipment and labor, resulting it results in less cost, resulting in less cost on equipment and labor. Thus, the farmer can make more profit. Can make more profit. The farmer can make more profit in that case. The farmer can make more profit. Auxins are removed and then the plant can not grow very tall. Therefore, the fruits are closer to the ground, which is making the harvesting process easier, less cost on equipment and labor. Therefore, the farmer can make more profits. The farmer can make more profits. That is one thing that you should understand when this question comes there. And then 2.4, we have got the Horner syndrome is a condition that negatively affects parts of the sympathetic nervous response in the face and eye on one side of the body and is caused by disruptive nerve in the brain. It is caused by disruptive nerve in the brain. So the condition may lead to decreased pupil size, dropping eyelid, and decreased sweating on the affected side. It also gonna cause that. And then the Warner syndrome, however, does not affect a person's ability to focus on an object near or far. Whether the object is near or far, the person can be able to focus. In that fact, you should understand this question basically has to talk about accommodation. That is accommodation that is to be discussed there. So 2.41, which side of the face shown above is affected by Horner syndrome? Which side is showing affected by Horner syndrome? We say that it results in terms of the symptoms there. We are saying that decreased pupil, dropping eyelids, and then decreased sweating on the affected area, decreased sweating on the affected area. So which side are we talking about? You can see here that here we can say that there is sweating which is too high here, and then the sweating we have got drops that are very small there. So we say that it is the what? It is the right side. It is the right side. Right side, right side, which is, I mean, it is the right side here. And then give one reason for your answer by referring to the text in the question there. Give one reason to your answer. Give one reason to your answer, which is in that case, we are saying, why do we say that it is the right side that is showing this condition? We are one thing that you need to understand is that there is decreased pupil size, and also we have got dropping eyelids and then decreased sweating symptoms that are shown in the what in the question there. Decreased pupil size, decreased pupil size. Two, we can also talk about dropping eyelids, which is shown there. Dropping eyelid. And then three, we can also talk about decreased what? Sweating. Decreased sweating, which is also showing there. Decreased sweating is also one other condition that we can see that the person has got this condition. And then name the part of the brain which interprets what you see. Seeing is interpreted by cerebrum. It is the cerebrum that is responsible for that. Cerebrum is responsible for that. Name the part of the nervous system which controls the pupil reflex. The pupil reflex is controlled. The part of the nervous system that controls that is the autonomic nervous system. It is the autonomic nervous system. Autonomic nervous system is the one that is responsible for controlling the pupil reflex. And then describe the risk that the decreased pupil size in Horner syndrome may pose to the driver at night. Uh, when the pupil decreases, how does that affect or how does it affect the driver at night? Number 2.45. A pupil is too small, it cannot dilate enough to let more light in. There, there is a great risk of having an accident at night because it will be difficult to see in the dark or dim light. That is one thing that would happen there. Uh, the small people, small people cannot dilate enough, cannot dilate enough to let more light in, to let more light in. There is a great risk of having accident at night, resulting in a great risk of accidents at night. Because the driver can have difficulty to see in the dim light at night, because the driver may experience problems in dim light. Remember, the stimulus of sight is what is light. So when the light is dim, this driver would suffer from problems of seeing because there is dim light, the people cannot dilate enough. It cannot dilate enough to allow enough light to enter. Therefore, greater risks of accidents may result in that case. Greater risks of accidents may take place in that respect. Tabulate differences between the functions of uh, the adrenaline and the parasympathetic nervous system. I'm gonna just 2.46, 2.4.6, tabulate the differences between the two. So when I'm saying tabulate, they just want you to draw a table which you can say adrenaline, and then we can also just say the parasympathetic nervous system. The parasympathetic nervous system, and then the adrenaline. They say tabulate, that is what they are saying. Just put the differences in a table form. So one, it increases heart rate. The adrenaline increases heart rate. It increases heart rate, and then it decreases heart rate. The parasympathetic nervous system, you remember that it is responsible for slow responses. It is for rest and digest. So it decreases the heart rate. That is one. Two, the heart this it actually increases blood pressure. Adrenaline increases blood pressure, and then it decreases blood pressure in the parasympathetic nervous system. decreases blood pressure, decreases blood pressure. Number three, it also it results in less sweat secretion, results in less secretion of sweat. And then in this case, I'm saying in terms of the parasympathetic system, it stimulates sweat production, stimulates sweat production. I'm saying the parasympathetic, it is the one that results in less sweat, less sweat, less sweat secretion, less sweat secretion. That is why we are talking about the rest and digest process. So when you are resting, there is less sweat that can be talked about there. We can talk about also decreases the adrenaline, it decreases the peristalsis, decreases peristalsis. I'm sure I remember the process of peristalsis. What is it? The contraction and relaxation of gullet muscles during swallowing, or to allow the what to call, to allow the swallowing of food, and then it increases peristalsis, increases peristalsis. Number five. Lastly, I can just maybe give that it dilates the pupil adrenaline. Dilates, it dilates the pupil, and then obviously in this one it constricts the pupil. There are quite a lot of points that we can give in that case, which has to do with the adrenaline also increases blood pressure. It also widens the bronchioles, which we can say also on the other side, the narrows the bronchioles. And then in terms of the blood vessels, we are saying the adrenaline also constricts blood vessels in the what? In the skin. That is vasoconstriction. But the parasympathetic system, it dilates the blood vessels in the skin. That is vasodilatation. So I'm saying there are quite a lot of any other points that you can give in that case. So I've given you five plus the table, which is more than enough. Let me just go to the last question, 2.47. Name and describe the process which allows a person with Horner syndrome to focus to focus clearly on an object which was far away and now is less than 6 meters away. So what is being asked here is that the learner or students, you are asked here to explain the process of what? Of accommodation of near vision. I'm saying which is less than 6 meters away. So near vision accommodation, we are saying less than 6 meters away. What you are supposed to understand is to say what are the changes that takes place there, the near vision less than 6 meters away. So what we are saying here is that you need to understand that the ciliary muscles, one, the ciliary muscles, the ciliary muscles contract, the ciliary muscles contract, suspensory ligaments, suspensory, the suspensory ligaments, they slacken. When they slacken, one other thing is that tension on the lens decreases. Tension on the lens, it decreases. Tension on the lens decreases, and then uh, the lens becomes more convex. The lens becomes more convex. That increases the reflective power of the lens, increasing the reflective power of the lens. When the reflective power of the lens, we are talking about near vision. So increasing the reflective power of the lens, and then eventually what call a clear image is formed on the retina, and a clear image is formed on the retina. That is what is happening there. So in this case, class, what you need to take note of is that you need to understand, even sometimes we have seen the question whereby you are asked to draw a diagram that is explaining or that is showing near vision or the appearances of the organs that are involved in far vision and also when it is near vision. So this is 2.47. Question 2.47. So I'm saying there is such questions which are coming because remember that our syllabus has been used quite a long time or quite repeatedly. Hence, we can answer questions that are quite a lot of, that comes from a variety of dimensions. So please be able to draw the circular muscles, the radial muscles, explain also or draw and label the parts as they are in terms of what I have explained in this case. So thank you so much for your time, and please take note of the adaptation of the eye to perform its function, which you are not supposed to talk about the binocular vision, the pupillary mechanism, as well as the concept of accommodation that I've just talked about here now. So with this, I hope that you are going to have good marks and you'll be able to answer many other questions that might arise when you are going to go to your exams on Friday. All the best, and thank you so much for your time. Keep following. More is coming. Paper 2 and many other areas are coming. Please again refer to the previous presentations that are on the channel where these concepts were clearly explained and were touched in more detail than answering specific questions. You have a beautiful day and all the best in your upcoming Friday, exam on Friday. Thank you.